Did the Seahawks just trade for the San Francisco 49ers killer? That's right, we're hyping it up. Seahawks acquired Leonard Williams, aka Leo Williams. He's a big time defensive tackle. After getting into his tape from this year and last year, he's a much better player than I had previously thought. He's really, I mean, he might be the best player on the D line right away, and that's with Jaron Reed registering probably the best season of his career. That's with, well, Boye Mafe's right there, isn't he? But at least on the inside, I mean, he's right up there with Jaron Reed. Mario Edwards has been really productive. Draymond Jones has been coming on strong, so he helps them. He helps raise the floor and the ceiling. He'll rise all tides. He's a really cool player. Really cool blend of smarts, traits, technique, effort. He's really versatile as both a run defender and a pass rusher. He'll really make them better. So I've got a hodgepodge of plays here. We're just going to dig right into it. Some games from this year. He was dominant against the 49ers, and you'll see here why really quick. He can win inside, outside, and down the middle. There, the center doesn't block to him, so he's got a one-on-one with the right guard. And you can see how right out of his stance, I mean, he can build his house out of power. He bull rushes him, and then he's able to work to the inside off of that and get the sack. What's really stands out about him is his ability to get off of the block when he bull rushes. He can counter inside, outside. He can work the hands. He can corner on the outside. He can do a lot of different things. So what's really cool about this rep right here, and we'll get another look at it on the end zone angle, is that the Clint Hurtt has been doing a really good job this year of getting one-on-ones for guys, and not just one-on-ones, but two-way goes. So, and I think they've been coached to be very alert to that, especially. So when the center blocks to Dexter Lawrence, they're sliding to the nose tackle. They're not sliding to the three technique. That's what the Seahawks have been seeing with Jaron Reed. Centers, offensive lines have been setting their protection, or rather sliding their protection to Jaron Reed. That's been getting the three technique a lot of one-on-one. So he's another guy that can just win off of these. He has a quick stutter step, counter swipe to the inside. Watch him match the hands here. Right there. That's great timing. And then he can get vertical and gets a hit on the quarterback. So he's going to get a lot of those looks, and I'd wager he's actually going to get even more of those in Seattle than in New York. Not that New York didn't try to get him one-on-ones. It's just Seattle they just live a little bit more in that world because they ask their D-line, the Giants do, to kind of set up the blitz more. The Seattle doesn't blitz as much, so he's going to get even more of those looks. I love this play too here because he has a lot of these wins. This is actually my favorite rep. He's just rushing speed, and he can counter on guys. His first move doesn't quite clear hands, so he does it again. Hits him with a hammer fist, and look at his hips and toes getting cranked around to set up his bend angle. If we go back to the wide view. Look at his hips right there. His hips are pointing up on the upfield hip, but they're pointing at the he's getting pretty much in line with the 30-yard line there, and that minimizes the amount of bend that he has. So it's not just technique and natural agility. He's really deliberate about getting his hands and hips around. So it's really good stuff to see. So it just shows that he can win in a variety of ways here. I think he reads that the guard oversets to him, and it shows how reactive he is off the snap, that he swipes back inside that really quickly. You can see the lateral quickness, the power in his hands on that rep. He just went in a variety of ways. Here's another one where he's rushing speed on the outside half of the guard. It doesn't look like it, but he actually gets a hand on the quarterback. Let's look at the end zone angle. Oh, no, we lost it. That's all right. So we'll go back to that play there. If I can get there. It just shows that he can attack the upfield shoulder. He engages the guard. He's able to kind of lift him a little bit to work into half man, and he ends up disrupting the quarterback's platform. The next play, it's a nice bull rush. See it here. So he works from the guard to the center. He gets knocked back on the center. If the ball was held a little bit, he would have gotten a clean win into the backfield. And there's just another one of him pushing the pocket. So like he can get He can win with clean wins, and then he can also push the pocket a little bit. Here he is at 5 technique, so he's rushing wide. They're trying to set something up. He's rushing Trent Williams right here, and he gets help because there's a blitz coming around it, but look how much space he creates. So either the blitzer is getting free or he himself is getting free, and that's too wide an angle for the guard to really help meaningfully. So he takes it all the way to the quarterback, ends up getting a quarterback hit. This is another one that just shows his bull rush. Like, he has easy power. He's walking Will Hernandez all the way back into the quarterback on this RPO. And we see a lot of that. He doesn't have a dominant bull rush. Like this is effectively a highlight tape that I'm showing here. He's going to have, every third or fourth bull rush is going to look like this. That's really good, but not everyone's going to go anywhere. He's not his teammate Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence is a dominant bull rush, but he has a good bull rush, and he can do a lot off of it. Here's a nice run play. I like this one because it's 1st and 10. It shows that he has a penetrative mindset. He is a technique player first and foremost. But it's 1st and 10. It's not like short yardage, like you have to get the tackle in the backfield. It just shows that he'll take his shots when they're there. Balance through contact and able to get clean into the backfield. So he does make these plays. Here's a 3rd and 14, another pass rush. He's just working the guard. He starts off with his bull rush again, right? And he ends up transitioning off of it. It's a huge club rip right there. That's insane power. And then I like that even as he stumbles, as the guard tries to recover, he's able to regain himself and keep his path toward the quarterback. And you see him again cranking his hips around. So he's really deliberate about that. Here's another win, rushing the outside angle of the guard, or outside half, like that one play against the 49ers. He dominated the Jets too. It's just a speed rip, and he bends it at 5-6 yards. He's a 3 technique, winning at like 2, 3, 4, 5 yards, and bending it at 6, getting a hit on the quarterback. And there's his teammate Dexter Lawrence. So, that's just traits. A lot of guys can, first and foremost, a lot of guys can't get to the rip itself. That kind of shows his length right here. A lot of them get knocked off here and get tossed into the tackle. So the fact that he's able to sustain this right there, he's able to rip through, and then he's able to bend it. That's the next part. Having the agility and the strength to bend it is really impressive. The length helps a lot too. Here's another one. Here's that bull rush again that we talked about. Like, that's what his bull rushes look like. He can just progressively walk the guy back in his successful bull rushes. Almost turns into a long arm. You see him have wrist control on the outside half if he needs to lift it up. But he realizes he's not stalling, so he doesn't really need to do anything here. He can just keep walking the left guard back. Had he stalled, had the left guard 78 stalled him, he's ready with the wrist control there to kind of use a forklift move and then get his hips around and then bend it back toward the quarterback, Zach Wilson. But here he doesn't even have to, because his bull rush never stops working. So you can tell that he has contingency plans throughout his rush. Another bull rush. Here's that counter off of it again. So let's look at it. Right there, arm over. He's got real moves. I think he provides even more juice than Jaron Reed right now. He's I'd say, just to give context, I mean, I know Draymond Jones isn't what we've wanted him to be, but even the idea of who we would like Draymond Jones to be, maybe who we thought we were getting, forget about reality for a second, but who we thought we were getting in Draymond Jones, I would argue that Leo is considerably better even than that. I think he's a really high-end player. There's another speed or outside half rush. Let's look at it from the wide angle. Rushing the left guard. It's kind of a speed swipe and just gets the corner and bends it. So, I mean, he wins in such a variety of ways. He's not a 1 or 2 trick pony. I mean, he's really got it all. As a run defender, this play, it kind of shows a penetrative mindset again. It's what is this? He doesn't really get blocked, but once he realizes that, he shoots into the backfield, and then you can see his length. Like that's his traits just kind of shining through. Length is a skill, and this is why being 6'5" and having long ass arms helps, because he engulfs the running back in the backfield. So Here's where his length shows up again. He's really difficult to reach on the backside. If you leave him unblocked, if the right guard slips him to get to the second level to climb, and it's just the right tackle, and he's got that B gap all to himself, I mean, no one's gonna be able to reach him. He's gonna keep his front side half free the whole way, and he's gonna work down the line and make the play every time. He's really difficult to reach on the backside of zone. Also, another thing I've seen is that when the play cuts back because of his length, so if we go back to this play right here, had it cut back on him, which it didn't, he's really good at working backside and kind of being a pseudo two gap player, even though he wouldn't be a two gap player. But here's the B gap. He's really good at working back into the C gap with his length, and just kind of being an extra player if the ball bends back really aggressively. What happens? Oh, this is another pass rush. All right, bonus pass rush. Um, Yeah, so that one, he didn't actually get into the backfield because the center comes to help really late. That's really good center play actually from him right there. But I like how, I mean, look how strong he is to just club him out of the way like that so quickly. This counter club. I mean, he tosses the left guard. That would have been a win had the center stayed on Dexter Lawrence. But if you notice, the center coming to his aid frees up Dexter. So in a vein, he still contributes to that. All right, this rep as a run defender is kind of a more true down in, down out representation of what he looks like taking on blocks. He's playing one technique here. He will play some one technique in Seattle, but it's not his primary thing. He's here because the Giants will just slide their front if the strength changes. So Dexter Lawrence bumps to three technique. He's at one technique. He's here in a cocked, like tilted one technique, kind of like Brandon Mebane. He's technically one gapping, but they still want him to play really heavy on the center. You see his back foot with his left foot still comes forward, so it's a power step still. Um, but the right guard really puts his body into him. But I like that he can stick with it and has the rotational power to cross face back into his primary gap and make the play. So he's got anchor, he's got leverage for a 6'5" guy. Um, here's another example. So if we remember that one play against the 49ers where he's on the backside of something, not that this is a wide zone, but what is this? I think this is split zone. The right guard blocks back on him pretty heavily, and it does. So right here, it does knock him out of his initial gap. You see that right there. His head is in the wrong gap, but he's got the length and the strength to work back into it. So his recovery is really good. What is that run scheme? That's split zone. Um, so split zone is important because it hits up the gut. So it was really important that he recovered here. So he's power stepping. His back foot is coming forward. It's a one gap technique. And he just has the staying power. So for a 6'5" guy, he's hard to uproot. The one primary weakness I've seen is that, like a lot of players, when doubles and combos stay on him for a while, he doesn't have a lot of answers for a couple of reasons. One, if he knows it's coming, he has to stay super low. And as we see right here, he gets kicked into the dirt. However, if it does stay on him for a long time, let's get back to that. If it does stay on him for a long time, you'll notice that the linebacker's free. So the way that Seattle schemes, they play with one gap principles again. So there's going to be someone free, and this isn't a disaster. He's not getting decleated, um, but on that play, but it is a weakness. If he doesn't get super low, because he's 6'5", there's all that surface area. Guys are going to be able to knock him. What I've seen him do successfully taking on doubles is when he can split it early, and get knocked back on his visual key, which in here would be the guy he's lined up over the guard. If he can get daylight between the guard and the tackle, he's okay. Kind of turning into two consecutive one-on-ones instead of one-on-two. But he doesn't need to worry about that very much in Seattle because the way they scheme now, the doubles aren't going to stay on there very long in the combos. But if they do, that means someone else at the second level is free. And all in all, I mean, his run defense his floor is right up there with their best run defenders at the moment. And I think he kind of also brings an extra kind of dynamism in terms of being able to get into the backfield. But it's really his pass rush that will really allow him to make plays and bring impact. I think his presence will take stress off of Jaron Reed and Mario Edwards and Draymond Jones. he'll benefit them. They'll benefit him. Basically, they've got 4 guys right now between him, Draymond Jones, Jaron Reed, and Mario Edwards that someone is going to have a one-on-one at all times of those 4 because someone's getting slid to. That means the other guy is going to be working a two-way go, and all 4 of them have shown that if you give them a two-way go enough times, they're getting into the backfield at a high rate. They've been doing that all year. So, and Clint Hurtt has spent a lot of time dedicating his scheming to make sure that they've got that, whether it's their base over front or they go into their overload front. I mean, he's going to cause mayhem, not to mention his length, what they can do in terms of setting up stunts and stuff with him being the stunter and then or him being the looper. There's a lot working for them with this. So I'm pretty excited. This makes them way better. The second round pick is maybe pushing it a little bit, but it was probably necessary. He's a really high floor player. So I'm all for it, and I'm pretty stoked. So be good stuff. We'll have another video coming out this week. We've got a tape review coming out tomorrow or later tonight by the time you're seeing this video. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, so check us out on podcast platforms. Check us out on YouTube, etc.